Welcome to the Spark Report. John W. Davis and Pavy. What's going on? You're watching us live on HMB TV, HMB Media. Check us out on YouTube. You'll be listening to this podcast on the Winsidr Podcast Network. What's going on, Pav? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. How you feeling? Hope your fourth was quality.
It was good. Well, we spent part of it together at the Sparks game.
We did.
They played the Seattle Storm.
Mm-hmm.
They really played the Seattle Storm in the third quarter. Came back, took a lead, and when it was crunch time, fatigue set in, and they lost the game. But we're going to have to talk about that throughout this podcast. Right now, the Sparks have 9 active players. They basically had 8 or 9 active players for weeks now, because if you run it down, Nneka Ogwumike has been out for weeks. Chiney Ogwumike has been out for weeks. Chrissy Tolliver's been out for several games now. Jasmine Walker basically been out for the whole season. Maria Vadiva has been out so far for the whole season overseas, expected back after the Olympic break. So, I mean, you're talking about 4 players that you know for sure could be helping this team right now, and definitely 5 if you count Jasmine Walker, but you can't expect her back anytime this season. But if I tell you that the Sparks are 6-11, but then sometime soon, probably after the Olympic break, you'll have access to Nneka, Chiney, Chrissy Tolliver, and Maria Vadiva. What's your take on the Sparks?
Well, luckily for them, nobody has to go over to the Olympics.
I won't say luckily. I won't say luckily for them.
I won't say luckily
Nneka should be there.
Luckily for the team, as far as like her own personal goes, it's unfortunate. But luckily for the team, like as in the LA Sparks, they can get some practice time in. They can, get some training in. They could definitely use it. One thing that Fish said, even when I asked him yesterday, that I didn't know was that teams were privy to going to their facility still, which I didn't know that. So he said, but usually by like a week out, everybody will start going back to practice, and you have more practice time. So that could really help them. They aren't so far in the standings where I think that it's impossible for them to recover. But I do think that immediately after the break, they got to come out and win like 4 or 5 straight games.
Yes. Yeah, I wrote a recap for the Winsidr Power Rankings about the Sparks, and I said, at 6-11, there's still time to go on a run like the Sky or the Lynx have done and get yourself back into contention. Now, obviously, they probably won't be hosting, a second round playoff game or anything like that, but there's still a possibility that they can work their way back, because even if they lose the next 2 games, that will make them 6-13 going into the Olympic break. Yes, more than half the season will be over, but I believe there'll still be 13 games left. And if you win 8 or 9 of those, you're definitely going to be in the playoffs. And then from there, you just see what happens.
I think the schedule kind of sort of lightens up on them.
Kind of, but not really. Because you got double games against the Sun coming up. You got another one against the Storm coming up. You got some Lynx in there. Like you got some
teams, but this little last 4 games before the All-Star, All-Star break and also Olympic break has been brutal. I mean, you get the Aces twice, you get the Storm twice, like those.
And you finish it up with the Lynx.
Finish it up with the Lynx. Like that's brutal. So at least you come back, you got Fever. What is it? You have the Fever first, then you have the Liberty. Well, no, Fever, Dream, Liberty, Mystic, Sun, Fever, Lynx, Sun, Storm, Dream, Wings. It's a little bit more manageable than, obviously the schedule has been right before the break.
There's no reason they should not have an above 500 record after the Olympic break when you look at that schedule. No reason.
I agree.
Now, how far above? That's the question. But I don't think it's going to take too much. I still contend that you can make the playoffs and be below 500. So if that is the first goal, is to make sure you make the playoffs, they can still do that. Because how many games are they out the playoffs right now?
They are.
It's not many.
Like 2. Yeah,
right.
They're kind of like 2 games out. 2 to 3
1.
games out.
Is it 1, 2?
Judging off by like win percentage.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the standings now.
1.5. 1.5.
Right.
1.5 games.
I mean, honestly, they could take care of that these next 2 games. Now, will they beat the Storm and the Lynx? Probably not. But yeah, you can take care of that pretty soon. Now, the problem with them is that a lot of these teams towards this bottom, like if they somehow had the same record as the Wings would have the advantage because the Wings have won the season series. The same goes for the Mercury. So that's where it will get a little tight, is that, you know, the only team right now that they've beat in the season series is the Sky, and them and the Sky are most likely not going to have the same record heading into the playoffs. So that's where it can get a little tough and tricky for them. But
I mean, for me, I feel like a broken record saying is every single podcast we do, but it's just about health. Like if they aren't going to get healthy, and this is the way this season is, going to go, then it's kind of just a lost season. If Shanae is going to miss, how many months has it been? Has it been a full month that she's missed?
yes, more than.
Yeah, she's missed
because
like a
she
month.
was out before NECA was out.
Yeah, so she's missed like a month and a half. Nega has basically missed a month. Christy has missed a week or 2 now.
Not 2 weeks. It's only been a week because it happened at the last game. It happened at the last home game.
Okay, well, if she's gonna be out a week, obviously you draft somebody first round. We went to the preseason game. She was on fire, light them up, and then she goes down.
And you traded your pick next year.
Yes, you traded your next year pick for her. So now you have to also hope that she comes in back and recovers fully. Like if this is just gonna be the way the season is gonna go, it's only so much that you can patch together and jimmy rig stuff. Like at a certain point, you need the team that you signed to play to be on the court and playing.
But this is my question, and I asked you this at the game. Would the GM be satisfied with what the coach is doing right now, even with all of the injuries?
I mean, I think defensively, yes. I think offensively, no. But I think defensively for sure, yes. Like their defense keeps them in every game. Shout out Miss Latricia Trimble. But their defense keeps them in every single game to the point where it's like even when they do play the Storm, they play the Aces, they have chances to win. Like they'll even go on Spurs in which they do hit a few shots and they go up 10. Now, obviously, it stalls out. And the other team comes back, and it's because these teams are better offensive teams and they have more firepower. But their defense keeps them in most games. So defensively, yes. Offensively, obviously, they have a long ways to go. But a lot of that even is because of health, and people are playing maybe more minutes than what they used to playing. Shots are coming in different places than what they're used to coming in into it. I don't know if anybody knows every day what their role is outside of like Erica and Brittany. But even Brittany offensively, I don't know if she knows what her role is every time she steps on the court.
Speaking of those 2 players, if there are 2 players on the team that can play even more minutes to try to help them win one or both of these last games, it's Erica Wheeler and Brittany Sykes. Like, honestly, if I am winning, I'm not taking them off the court. I'm sorry. You literally got to play the whole game to try to win. Like if they get it, like when they got up against the Storm, and then Brittany Sykes sat at the beginning of the 4th quarter, that was it. Like, yeah, there's a break between the 3rd and 4th quarter. Like, that's your break.
That's your break. That's your break. I mean, currently,
you want a break? You want a break? Take it hard to the cup and use your free throws as your break.
I mean, currently she is averaging a career high in minutes. She's at 28.
And these last 2 games, I believe she played 38 and 36.
I mean, how much more you want?
40.
If I can't
40.
Yeah, I feel you, but like if I can't find you 2 minutes of rest and like our team can't, I think when they checked out, it was a 10-point game. You mean to tell me my bench can't hold it down, and at least when I like put her back, my bench can't hold it down, and like at least when I put her back in the game, is at the very least a 6-point game?
Yes, because the bench is only 3 players right now.
Damn, those 3 players
got to play 8-person rotation.
Well, those 3 players got to play better in the moments that they're there.
And the only person that was a true backup to them was Ted Cooper.
And she got to be
She
better.
was the only ball handler. She was the only ball handler. And the last game, it wasn't her game.
It was not her game. It was minus 23 and a 10-point loss. Not good.
It wasn't her game. So I don't know. I mean, it is. to me, I don't want to be 6-13 going into the Olympic break. Like I want to be at the bare minimum 7-12. Like I gotta beat either the Storm or the Lynx. Like I just have to win one of these games. Just to show my team that we can win. Like, yes, we can play great, and yes, we can hold the Storm way below their season average, and yes, we can hold the Aces to what do they hold them to 60 something, and then basically the next game the Aces go out and score 118. They scored 118 on the Dream, and then against the Sparks, it was in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we can do that defensively, but we have to win a game, and if that means that on one of these next two games that I'm playing you 40 minutes, you about to get a month break. Like you said, Brittany and Erica are not going to the Olympics. Brittany and Erica are not going to the All-Star game. They're not doing any of that stuff. So we have 80 minutes of basketball left to play before the Olympic break. If you are not in foul trouble, I am asking you to play all 80 of those minutes. Now, does that mean we may need to slow down our pace? Sure. Grind out a game like they did against the Aces? Sure. I mean, they kind of ended up grinding it out against the Storm again. Sure. But until you have at least 10 or 11, you can't play the way you want to play.
It's also their play style, though. It'll be, well, I don't mean, not to say that they aren't conditioned, but it'll be very hard, I think, at least, for their play style, for those who specifically.
That's why I said you got to play slower.
Is that what they do, though?
No.
Is that what they do?
No, it's not what they do.
And do they even have...
But do you want to win or you want to lose?
A question. Currently, do they even have the personnel to do that?
To win a game? Yes, they have the personnel to win a game.
No, not to win a game. To slow the pace down and play slow.
Yes, what did they do against the Aces?
Yeah, but I think when they took the lead, I thought they actually sped up the pace. And also, I don't know if it was that the pace was so slow or if it was the fact that they were just missing shots.
Missing shots, pace slow, whatever. Less shots. The first game they took 80-something shots and they got blown out.
And also
the next game they lost by less than 10 because there was 20 fewer shots.
And also a weird concept. Why do they force so many turnovers but not convert on the turnovers?
I mean, that's why the last time we did this show, I said, they have to focus on threes and layups. Like I constantly talk to the players, game after game, availability after availability. And players like Erica Wheeler and Taya Cooper will say, after a loss, they'll say, we have to make our shots. We have to make our layups. Like it is the fundamental portions of basketball that they have to be able to connect on. You're either making these layups or you jumping into somebody like you Trae Young and getting fouled.
Yeah, like I see too many times in transition where it just ends in nothing, or it ends in a missed layup or ends in a turnover.
But I would prefer for them just to make the layups because I think that jumping into people, that's not sustainable body-wise.
I can agree with
because you got some smaller frame players, Erica Wheeler, even Taya Cooper. Yes, she's strong, but she's still 5'8".
Yeah, and
like you don't want to create additional extra contact if you don't have to. Like you just want to make the bucket.
Of course.
So, I will say that I am encouraged that next to Simone Augustus, sitting right next to her is then Nneka Ogwumike. And then sitting right next to Nneka Ogwumike is Christy Tolliver. So now the vets turned into an assistant coach. The injured star is now the next coach in line. The next injured starter and all-star is a coach in line. So I am encouraged to see Nneka and Chiney, even Chiney, Nneka, Chiney, and Christy so involved in the game. I feel like they have a lot to say during the game, so I feel like they should have a lot to do the next time they play. Because after every break, they're commenting on what they're seeing and encouraging and coaching their teammates up about do this, do that, do this, do that. Don't do this, do this, do that, do this. So I'm expecting them that when they're in the game very soon, within the next month or so, that they should be applying all of these things that they're seeing. because I think you get a different appreciation for the game when you can just watch it. And they've had plenty of time to watch. Shanae's been watching for weeks. Nneka's been watching for weeks. Christy Tolliver watched all last year and played most of this year. And then now she's out with her cut above her eye. And so now again, she's watching. And it's not just watching film after the fact. Like you're watching in game. You're seeing it develop. And you're like, well, if I was there, I would have did this. Well, the next time you're there, do that.
Now, I agree, but again, the biggest thing for them is getting back on the court, man. Like they got to get out there, they got to get healthy. I think the break for the Sparks, I think it should help them a lot, especially in just that standpoint. You know, everybody should come back completely healthy, at the very least.
Yes.
And also I think defensively, whatever, fine. Offensively, I understand what they're doing. It's just really simple offense. They did at
Do you really understand what they're doing?
Yeah, they're just it's just screens.
What are they doing?
They come up, set a screen. They usually put the ball in like Erica's hands or Taya's hands or sometimes Chrissy's hands. They have one main ball handler for the most part. Screen, get in the paint, swing, open shot. Or swing, drive. Or they come up, do a little dribble handoff, same thing, swing. Well, hand off, gets to the paint, swing, whatever. But
what happens when they swing, pass up the open shot? That's what frustrates me.
People need some more confidence. But again, also, this is another situation which you have people, because of all the injuries, that are in spots where they shouldn't be in. So you have, guards catching the ball in the corner when maybe they used to catching the ball on the wing. Or you have somebody who's used to catching the ball in the corner who's now catching the ball on the wing, and they may not feel comfortable with that shot. Also, they have the real issue right now of that Erica is shooting from three, she's shooting 33%. She historically has never, she's shooting 32% outside of 2019 in Indiana when she was a 38% three-point shooter. She's historically around 33%. And let's look at
her average.
She's shooting her average, but her average isn't great. So it's like I wouldn't consider her a shooter. And Taya, what is she shooting? Taya's actually shooting 35% from three.
And that's above average for her.
It's above average for her. I don't actually think she shoots 35% from if you understand what I'm saying. Like I don't think if she took like 7 threes, she would shoot 35%.
It's not an effectively 35% shooting percentage.
Yes.
In totality, it is, but effectively, it's probably closer to 30. It feels like it.
Yes. So you have guards who aren't making shots. So I don't know if they're even, if they really want to put up shots because they aren't great 3-point shooters. If everybody was Christy Tolliver that was getting swung the ball, then maybe it'd be a little bit different. But everybody just happens to not be Christy Tolliver.
If it was Christy Tolliver, Jasmine Walker, and Nneka,
then maybe it might be
Zowie B.
Then maybe it might be a little bit different. But they have the issue, like I said.
Shout out to Zowie B. She is a willing shooter, and she has continued to be a willing shooter.
She's the best shooter that's playing right now. Outside of even that, I think Christy is better than her, and maybe that's it. She's the best shooter on the team, which is also an issue. If your best shooter is
I was about to say, is that a good thing?
No, if your best shooter is a big, that's probably not a good thing.
As great as she is at shooting, I don't think you want Amanda Zowie B to be the best shooter on your team.
You don't want a center at all to be the best shooter. I mean, it is a plus if they can shoot, obviously, but I don't think you want your center to be your best shooter on the team. No. Your center. So I get what they're doing offensively. A lot of it just isn't working because they aren't hitting shots. Like they get to the paint, they create open looks, they put pressure on the defense consistently. But sometimes they get to the rim, either one, don't make the layup, or two, swing it out, don't make the three. I think at first, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, is it possible? Is it possible to tighten up this rotation even more? Because successfully, I will see the Aces often just play 7 players. The other day, the Aces bench was Hamby and it was Plum. That was it. 2 players. It was 1 guard and 1 forward.
Yeah, but
the Sparks bench just be 1 guard and 1 forward?
Yeah, but the Aces can get away with that because you can just dump the ball down. Like you can just dump the ball down to two of probably the best post players in the league, and you can get away with a lot of that. So your guard,
You can't dump the ball down to Zowie B. Zowie B stay calling for that ball.
That's not what they do.
It doesn't mean they can't.
That's not what they do. She also has to stay out of foul trouble too. She's in foul trouble a lot. She's also in foul trouble a lot. If you are a really good big, she will probably end up in foul trouble.
Yeah, and last 2 games, she's ended up with 5 fouls. I'd say 1 or 2 of those are questionable. But what can she do? What can she do? She literally has to play like that every night to have a chance. Because pretty much every night, as tall as Zowie B is at 6'5", she's usually playing somebody who's bigger. Like every night, she's going to play a bigger player. And, people will constantly ask her post-game, oh, what's it like going up against, whoever. She said she's basically tired of answering the question. And she basically said that, like, this is the best league in the world. This is how it's going to be. And so this is how it's going to be. Like, there's no rest for Zowie B. It'll be, what was it? Cam Beige 2 nights. Then it was Mercedes Russell, who is technically bigger than Zowie B. And then
Ezzy, don't forget Ezzy, because she was
they're the same. They're the same size, but yeah, Ezzy was
out there dropping a mixtape.
Yeah, Ezzy. That's what we like to call her in the Winsidr room. But we like to call her Ezzy. But yeah, like that is a player that has a great potential. And like you tweeted the other night, you said like I can see why they were kind of okay with Natasha Howard leaving if we have Ezzy Magbagor to develop in the system.
For sure. I mean, she makes her shots around the rim. She rebounds the ball. Mm-hmm. She's very energetic. She's slim, but she doesn't get bullied at all that I've seen, at least in the paint.
Right.
And I think
she's athletically strong.
Exactly. And I think eventually she can probably stretch her game out to mid-range and like even the way she can pump fake and get to the
shout out to Ezzy. We got the same birthday. Guess how old she is?
19.
21.
She's 21?
She will be 22 coming up.
Okay.
So that's the thing. Like she's younger than anybody that they would even draft in next year's draft. And maybe even the draft after that. Because a lot of times when these players get drafted, they're 23 or 24. Especially now that in the NCAA system that you can just stay as long as you want, especially because it's COVID year.
Yeah, and players also reclassify, so they might even come into college late and things like that.
So she's played 2 years already in the league, and she'll still be younger than whoever is drafted next year. So she'll have 3 years of knowledge versus a rookie and still be younger. So like, that's the type of player you want to develop around. And that's the type of player that like you're getting above average performance for her rookie scale contract.
Yes.
You're getting above value, especially when you pair her next to Breanna Stewart. And it allows Breanna Stewart to not have to play the 5. She can play the 5, but I don't think that is her preferred position. I think her preferred positions are 4 and out. Like, that's why Natasha Howard was so appropriate for them. That's why Mercedes Russell is so appropriate for them. Because if they really wanted to, they don't have to start any of them. And that might have been part of the problem with Candace Dupree, who ended up getting waived from that team after they mutually agreed to a buyout. Is like they could have started Stewart, Dupree, Jewel Lloyd, Stewart, Dupree, Katie Lou, Jewel Lloyd, and Sue Bird. But they didn't want to do that because they don't want Breanna Stewart playing the traditional 5. Yes, she has the size for it. And also shout out to Breanna Stewart for literally stopping a 2-person fast break by herself.
She did stop a 2-person fast break by herself.
She forced Erica Wheeler to not take the layup. She dropped it off to Coffee and then was able to turn around and block Coffee all in the same step.
Erica probably should have taken that layup though.
Yes, and Nia Coffee was frustrated.
Erica for sure.
Nia Coffee was frustrated. She was frustrated that Erica didn't take that because at the worst, Erica would have got fouled.
Now if this
was at the worst it would have been a clean block, but most likely she would have got fouled or made the shot.
Now, if this was in the NBA, maybe you do that because some people have can jump 45 inches off the ground.
It's just would have gammed on them,
and somebody might have got dunked on. It would have been an incredible highlight. But Erica probably should have taken that layup. But again, that's also the thing we talk about with Sparks in like transition. You got to just figure that stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
Like that should be 2 points, or at least you picking up a foul on Brianna, something like you just have to figure that stuff out and make better decisions in transition. And wasn't that probably off a steal that they forced that they got nothing out of?
Yeah, it was a turnover. Yeah, like a lot of them.
Like you can't force 25 turnovers and score 10 points. What are you doing?
Just forcing turnovers to take away your energy.
Like I've actually never seen that before. I've never seen a team force so many. Usually, if you force 25 turnovers, you win it by like 30 points, especially in the W because chase down blocks usually don't really happen like that.
Right.
So usually, if you steal the ball, you off to the races. It's 2 points.
Right. But shout out to Breanna Stewart for not giving up on that play.
Of course, yeah.
Because she could have.
Yeah, that was my first time actually seeing her play in person. She has an incredibly quick shot release. Like she gets it and it is out of there immediately. She probably has one of the best, she has one of the best shooting forms in the WNBA. So shout out Breanna Stewart.
If I'm putting together the Olympic roster, I'm gonna do it like they did Candace Parker. I'm listing Breanna Stewart as a guard, forward, and a center.
I feel you.
I'm just going to do it because I want people to know that she's the most versatile player in the world.
Still think Candace.
That's at least okay. She's the most versatile player on that roster.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because Candace is not on the roster.
That's fair.
And that's a whole nother thing. But Candace Parker is at least an all-star, and Candace Parker will be playing against the Olympic team in Vegas for the all-star game. What do you think about that?
Which part? The all-star team playing against the Olympic team?
Yes.
I think it's a cool idea, especially with it being a Olympic year. I think it's a great way to get the fans and the people excited about watching the Olympic team. It sucks to me that the all-star game is on a Wednesday, right?
Yes, Wednesday the 14th.
It's kind of weird. Like I would think
middle of the week. I will most likely not be attending because it is in the middle of the week.
Yeah, like I think it's also a great moment being that we're more open now. Vegas is Vegas is a whole different world over there. I think it would have been a great moment to continue doing some type of All-Star Weekend. I think All-Star Weekend in Vegas is great for the W. The
only problem with that is if they would have pushed it back and did a whole weekend event and maybe had the game on a Saturday or Sunday, they would have pushed themselves too close into the Olympic window.
That's fair.
Because the Olympics start, I believe, on the 23rd of July.
I mean,
go through August 8th.
I mean, what they play at the 14th. I mean, you could have a game on the 27th. That gives you the whole team.
No.
I'm out 27th. Just 17th. You got a game on the 17th. You said the Olympics start the 23rd. They're gonna be practicing the whole week anyway.
Yeah, but you have to go to Tokyo. You have to pass all of their COVID testing and all that stuff. You'll be quarantining when you get there. Like there's a lot of restrictions to make these games happen.
Good point.
So it's not like you're just showing up and playing basketball.
Good point. It is in Tokyo. It's not in America.
It's in a place where I don't even know if they've rolled out public vaccines. Remember?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
Definitely not to the level that we have.
Yeah. So fair. You're right.
Remember last time we were talking, you were telling me that they had just done another emergency shutdown.
Yeah.
So it's a totally different world over there.
Like a level 2 or state of emergency or something like that.
Right.
I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Totally different world over there.
Yeah. But
so,
I mean,
this other thing I'll add. So I think it is great that they are having an all-star game during an Olympic year, because this is one of the problems. When you look at somebody's totality of a career, you'll be like, oh, Diana Taurasi played in the league for 18, 19 years. Oh, but she only made 8 all-star teams. Well, that's because up until now, you couldn't make an all-star team in an Olympic year because they just didn't have an all-star game and they didn't even select the all-stars. You need to have all-stars every single year because that is one of the ways that we grade the greatness of somebody's career. That is a career accolade. All-stars.
Which is unfortunate. I lean more heavily on all WNBA teams and things like that, just because I think that's a more
yes. I think that is more. I think that is a higher level, but all-star games count.
Of course. I just think all WNBA is a more accurate depiction of who actually was the best 5 to 10 to 15 players in the league that year, because
it is. Well, they do two teams, so you only can get first team just all WNBA or first team and second team defense. So you only have a pool of 20 players that can win awards outside of MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and Most Improved. So that's 23 players, 23 slots. And some of those players will be reproductions. Like there'll be some people who are on all defense and all WNBA and won MVP, Most Improved, or Defensive Player of the Year. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying is, so at the max, you can only award 23 players a year with an award if you do it that way. And it won't be that many because some will be crossovers.
I do have a question for you, though. I know there was a thing about the Sparks not having any All-Stars this year. How do you feel about that? Do you think that they deserved any All-Stars this year? What's your thoughts on that?
I think that the most natural selection for an All-Star should have been Nneka Ogwumike. Now,
play enough though.
Yes, but when she did play, it worked out, and I think that it could have been a good way to say that, like, we respect and we recognize you, and like, yes, you didn't get to make the Olympic team, but we want you in Vegas to represent us. But they didn't choose to do that. So then if I was going to pick past that, I just don't know. I mean, yeah, you could have went with Erica Wheeler. Could have went with Zowie B. I mean, if you look at the All-Star team, man, there are some people who I think that didn't need to be on there. I don't think that Satu Sabali needed to be an All-Star because Marina Mabry didn't even make the All-Star team. How you going to pick Satu over Marina Mabry on Dallas?
Does Marina start every day, though? I don't know if she's an everyday starter this season.
Doesn't matter. She's averaging 20 points a game. She's damn near averaging 20 points a game. She's been starting, and she's got the stats to back it up. Like, Marina Mabry is most likely going to win Most Improved Player of the Year.
Shout out, Marina.
And if they keep her coming off the bench, she might as well win 6 woman too. I mean, she has been balling. She has been, I'm going to keep it real with you. She has been the best player on the Dallas Wings. The best, most consistent player on the Dallas Wings. She has been better than Arike Ogunbowale.
I mean, Arike averaging 20.
Look at Marina. Look at Marina.
14. She's averaging 14.8.
Yeah, now because they won't let her play. But look at her. Look at her splits. Tell me who splits you want. Tell me who splits you want.
I mean, I had to like go look.
And if you lie to me, then you can lie to me. But it's Marina.
That's fair. Me personally, I mean, sadly enough, this season, I don't think the Sparks deserved any All-Stars. I think Erica recently has been balling, playing incredibly, but that was after the All-Star teams came out. The Erica that we're seeing right now is not the Erica that we were seeing early in the season when they were picking All-Stars. If Nneka had played more than 5 games, of course she'd be deserving, but she only played 5 games. So this year, I just don't think the Sparks deserve any All-Stars personally. I mean, doesn't mean that these people can't play. Like obviously Erica, like I said, Erica has been since the All-Star teams came out, she been balling. But before, I don't know if she was playing to the same level that she's playing with afterwards.
She was doing it in the clutch portion of the game, but they haven't always translated to enough wins to do it.
Yes.
So,
but even again,
is she an all-star? Yes, because once you're an all-star, you're always an all-star. You don't take that away from somebody. I mean, we just saw the man in Game 6. Like, people forget that Jeff Teague is an NBA all-star. Yes, it was 1 year, but the man is an all-star.
Jeff Teague did have a moment in Game 6.
Yes, but that man is an NBA All-Star. You're not taking that away. Just like when somebody is a president of something, they're always the president. Right.
They're always the president.
If you want to put former in front of it, whatever, but you don't lose that title.
This is true.
It's like you don't take that accolade away from somebody. It's not like in track and field where, you might get, years later, they check your sample and you're tested for doping and they say you're on performance enhancing drugs. So then they take away your accolades. We're not taking away somebody's all-star nature because, there's nothing that's going to, say that everything that Erica Wheeler has done or Maya Moore or anybody who's an all-star, we're not going to take that away from them. This is not the type of sport, but I don't know.
This season, no. But this season, no. At least
I'm fine with it.
At least up to when they selected the teams.
Okay. No. Well, here, let me pull this up because now I'm curious. The WNBA All-Star roster. Let's see. So, obviously, you know who Team USA is. Let's go through Team USA first because everybody on Team USA is automatically an All-Star. Okay. So you have Ariel Atkins, Sue Bird, Tina Charles, Nafisa Collier, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Sylvia Fowles, Chelsea Gray, Brittany Griner, Jewel Lloyd, Brianna Stewart, Diana Taurasi, and Asia Wilson. Do you have any problems with any of them being All-Stars?
Nah, that's a hell of a team.
Right. So all of them should be All-Stars. So now we go on the WNBA side for All-Stars. We have DeWanna Bonner, Liz Cambage, who is an Olympian for Australia.
And I was about to say, yeah,
if she was an American, she'd be an Olympian for America. All right. You got Kalia Copper from Chicago.
You could talk this season.
Yeah, but you could talk me out of her. De'Erica Hamby on the Aces. Brianna Jones on the Sun. She's really been balling. Jonquel Jones. That's another type of player. If Jonquel Jones was on Team USA, she'd be on the team.
For sure.
But Benaja Laney, you can't talk me out of her. Arike Ogunbowale, she just scores too many points. You can't talk me out of her. Candace Parker. I mean, she is literally the only reason the Sky have a winning record right now. She's the only reason Sky are not the 11th worst team in the league right now, which they were when she was out. You have Satu Sabali. You can talk me out of Satu. You got Courtney Vandersloot, which, I mean, she's arguably the best point guard in the league. So, I mean, she kind of just got to be an all-star. And then Courtney Williams. So they chose her off the dream. And Courtney Williams has had a really good season. So, to me, the only, question mark is Satu. But,
yeah, I don't really have.
I get it.
I don't have an issue with the people who have been picked for either team personally. But
yeah, I don't know exactly where they're going. I know where they can go, the Sparks. Yeah, but I don't know where they're going because you don't have enough players on this team to just, this is not the NBA where you got 15 players on the roster and you got two-way contracts, so you really got access to 17 or more players. You don't have that where you can just punt on the season and say okay, all the vets, y'all can just chill, we'll pay y'all, and we're just going to play all the rookies and develop them. Can't do that.
I also, when it comes to the Sparks, I don't know where the future is. Even past this year, I don't really know where the future lies.
Part of the future is in Gabby Williams.
Yes, part of the future is in Gabby Williams. Obviously, Jasmine Walker has to come back and get healthy. Obviously, you still, Taya is young.
I think part of the future still is in Nneka Ogwumike.
Yes. How many years did she sign for, though?
Just 2.
How much longer is she going to be here? It's a
real question. I don't know. I believe that essentially the whole team, other than the rookies, the whole team will be up after the 2022 season. Yeah, basically the whole core. They all
can start it all over. So to me, like I even said, I think at the beginning of the season, I thought that the Sparks needed to reload. after last year anyway. I didn't know it would happen in that fashion, but I thought that they probably needed to reload, because I thought that if you're going to hire Fish, obviously you have to give him a chance. Give him a chance to put his ladies in his system and see how it works. They fully did that by making him the GM and everything else. But this season it's just injuries. Yeah. Like
the Sparks have no protected veteran contracts after the 2022 season. The people who are under contract next year with guaranteed contracts are Nneka Ogwumike, Christy Tolliver, Erica Wheeler, Amanda Zowie B, Shanae Ogwumike, and Gabby Williams. You can have 6 protected contracts, and that's what they have. They do have Brittany Sykes under contract next year. I essentially consider her a protected contract without technically being protected. So that's 7. Past that, it's up to you what you want to do.
Yeah, so I mean,
and there's still flexibility in somebody having a protected veteran contract next year. Just because they have that contract, I'm not saying you're going to cut them, but that doesn't necessarily mean they have to be on the team. Yeah, contracts can be traded, contracts can be bought out.
Yeah, so this season, I think they would need to have one hell of a turnaround, which can happen, by the way. It can happen. It can, but they would need to have one hell of a turnaround. Like, I honestly think at some point when we come back, you give it 4 to 5 games. Obviously, you're gonna play the team, because again, there's no point in you even attempting to lose games.
They can go 10-3 in the last 13 games after the Olympic break and finish this season 16-16.
That would be one hell of a turnaround if they do.
They can do that. I believe they can do that. Now, more likely, maybe 8-5 or 9-4. But even still, if they get to 14-18, they're probably gonna make playoffs.
Yeah, but even when you look back at that, I think you would still look at this season.
If you get to 15-17, you are making the playoffs.
Yeah, but I think you would still look at the season and think, like, what if at the end of the day, because of all the injuries.
You will, but if you get to a point where you can look back on this season and truly just say what if, then you can move forward with that. Because you have to get to the what if part. They are not at the what if part right now. Unless, I'm saying they're not at the what if part right now, because they would only be at what if all of those injured players were just out for the whole season and they never came. Then you can have a what if. But if they come back and it doesn't change, then what if is out the window. Because it's not like they're coming back 2 weeks from now and then the season's just going to continue. There's going to be essentially a month-long break.
That is a big part.
So the health will be there.
The health will be there.
If the health is not there by then, shut it down for the rest of the season. If you are not healthy by August 15th, don't play for the rest of the season.
The health will be there, but also I think you can offensively address some of your issues within that month. Like I said in the beginning, I think obviously you like get a month, you get to put some new sets in. You
address a lot of it by Nneka just playing.
Yes,
because Nneka gets to the foul line. Nneka is an above average 3-point shooter, and she is supremely efficient. If Nneka shoots 55%, that's just average for her.
Yes.
That's just average.
Yes. But again, they still need the team that they signed to get on the court.
The other thing is they have to, especially in the front office and the coaching staff, they have to maintain a proper culture where, nobody is, fighting within the team or getting into it within the team like you may be seeing across the league, because they have to treat everybody the right way, because in 2022 or 2023, definitely by 2023, this could be a whole new team with totally different players and everything like that. And LA is still a destination. LA is still the place where the teams on the other 11 teams in the league, they all love coming here. They all love staying downtown, right near this area, the LA Live area, and having themselves a grand old time in LA.
Also, one thing that we have to mention, that I do want to bring up, the Sparks will be going back to Staples.
Yes.
You know, which
Shout out
obviously
to the convention center. They've done a great job putting that together.
Convention
and I
center
felt like I entered the Wubble, but the Staples is just different.
Yeah, obviously you can pack more fans in there. You can have more of a home court advantage, obviously.
Right. They're
Like
only selling lower bowl, so everybody will have a great seat if you decide to attend a game at Staples. The only thing is, I think there's only like less than half the games remaining after the Olympic break are actually at home.
Still.
So I think it's like 5 games. It's either 5 or 6 games.
Still, I just think it'd be good to get back in Staples for them.
It would be great to get back in Staples.
For them to feel. I mean, you have players who never played at Staples. Like Brittany has never played in Sparks uniform at Staples. She's been here 2 years.
True.
Taya got drafted, never played at. Like you got people who have never, ever played at Staples, and they've been part of this team for 2 years at this point, basically. So I think it'll be good for them. I think it'll be good for the team to return to some level of normal, to a better level of normalcy. And I think just for home court advantage, I think it was something when people. I mean, they haven't lost to Staples since 2019.
So yeah, I was just about to say, I was gonna pull that out. Yeah, they haven't lost. I don't think they've lost at Staples since Zowie B.
Yeah, like they haven't lost at Staples since then. Like, yes, the convention center is cool, but I don't feel the same level of I'm going to a Sparks game when I see them at the convention center.
They will have a greater home court advantage at Staples.
Yes.
This is the other thing I want to say this before I forget too, though. Like, we've seen free agent moves that are more than surprising year after year since free agency really, really opened up in the league. The Sparks are still a destination. Sure. There are still players who you could easily draw to the Sparks if things work out. Jewel Lloyd, Liz Cambage. I mean, just be open to that. Now, obviously, I said last free agency, I said, be open to the possibility Diana Taurasi want to come home. Diana Taurasi don't want to come home. Okay. She ain't coming home. When she comes home, it's going to be to retire. And she may never even do that. She may just stay in the Phoenix area forever. But there are still some younger stars that I feel like you have a good shot at getting them to come to this team, whether it's 2022 or 2023. And through all of this, the players that are on this roster, they have nothing but good things to say about the general manager and the head coach, Derek Fisher. They like him. They like playing for him. They like the fact that he's not constantly in their ear saying, do this, do that. Do this,
what did you
do
think
that.
About your question that I know you got cut off when you were trying to ask him the question, but when you asked him about the difference between him kind of standing up and being more involved on the sidelines as opposed to sitting down and relaxing and letting the players kind of like not do their own thing but figure it out for themselves.
Yeah, trust themselves is what he used. I think he gave an appropriate answer, but I would like to see him. I won't say I can't say not fully engaged, but I would like to see him up talking the whole game, because I think if Derek Fisher was up talking the whole game with the players he will have available, most likely for the next 2 games before the Olympic break, they will win one of those games with his direction, with the direction of Nneka off the bench, with the direction of Latricia Trammell off the bench, with the direction of Coach Fred Williams off the bench. If they are constantly getting that feedback, then they will win one of these games, and they will be 7-12 instead of 6-13 going into this. And then that will make it even easier for them to figure out how to get to 500 and really make a go at this in that back half of the season. That'll give them just another game margin for error, because you can't expect them to just come out of nowhere after the end of the Olympic break and just win every single game. Like, they're not just going to win 13 straight games. It's not realistic. But could they win every game at Staples? Sure. If we're talking about 5 games, yes, they can. they can win that. Can they win 10 out of 13? Yeah. Can they win 9 out of 13? Most definitely. And if 9 out of 13 gets you to 500 or gets you right there and gets you to if it shakes out the right way, that could get you to the 5 seed in this league. You could be hosting a first round playoff game. I think that's still the goal, is to be a 5 or a 6 seed and host the first round playoff game. I think that is still realistic for the Spartans.
I mean, as far as, Fish, and I get the point of what he's doing. Also, got to remember, he's from the school of Phil Jackson. You won 5 rings under Phil Jackson. Phil was the guy who would sit back and kind of let the players figure out their own riddles.
Yeah, but Phil is not coaching now.
Listen, Phil would be a guy who would kind of sit back and let the players figure out his own riddles. I
got it. Namaste.
I do appreciate the fact that he will give the ladies freedom, because I do think one of the things that's wrong with the W at times is coaches restrict the players a lot, and they don't just let them play basketball. That being said, I think the player just have to see more things and just be better. Even when you would see Erica, I think she had how many double-doubles had she had this year? 2?
2 or 3.
She had like 2 20 and 10 games at the first of
and there was 2 back in a row. 2 in a row.
Yeah. So it's like these players have shown that they don't necessarily need somebody just hovering over them the whole time. Like, yo, call this, call that, call this. They can figure out things for themselves. I am with you. I think that, when there are certain moments in which, the game kind of looks sloppy and it's up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. You might want to get up and actually call an actual.
I want him to share what he's seeing in real game, in time, or excuse me. I want him to share what he's seeing in game as much as possible. It's great to tell him after the fact, but tell me right now. Give me that feedback right now so I can do it right now.
I think he does, but also the point is, I want the players to figure out their own riddles for themselves. Because again, also you may you out there playing, so you may even see something that I don't even see because you out there playing. So let me actually put the trust in my players, and I think he does a good job putting trust in his players. So I get the point. I do agree. Maybe sometimes when I see the game, there are moments in games recently where it kind of got arcadey. And it's it's up, down, up, down, up, down for a minute, and it's kind of sloppy. Those are moments where I'll be like, all right, yo, get up, let me call some, run this actual set play, and I'll go sit back down. But I don't have an issue with the way he's coaching or the way he wants to handle.
This man has more years of playing and coaching knowledge, NBA and WNBA, than some players on his team have been alive. This man's first season was 1996. Some of his players are not even that old.
That's why I'm going to trust him with what he's doing.
And even the ones that are that old are 5. So yes, again, I want to trust. I want to trust what he's doing. I want to trust what he's doing, but that's why I want him to share what he knows all the time.
Yeah, but you don't want to coach over your shoulder all the time. So you
don't. But you want to win. You want to win. Look. I feel like Alonzo from Training Day. You want to go to jail or you want to go home? You want to win or you want to lose?
I understand that.
Are we teaching life lessons or are we winning basketball games?
No, but at the same time, if I'm a coach and I have to stand over you every single play and call something the entire game, that probably means I don't even trust the IQ of my players. If I got to call something every single play and be up on the sidelines for 40 straight minutes, that probably means I don't trust the IQ of my players. So again, I don't have an issue with his sideline activity currently. I think earlier in the season, he even simplified the offense.
If I really want to chart it, though, I can guarantee you. Well, I won't say guarantee you, but anecdotally, they play better if he is standing up and talking than when he's sitting down and watching.
I mean, I done seen him stand up and talk, and they lose games too.
Yes.
And I've seen him sit down and Erica get a 20 and 10. So,
but are they winning when she gets 20 and 10?
I think they've won a couple of those games. They haven't.
I think they won one, and I think they lost one.
Okay, that's fair. Again,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like people talk to me about Taya Cooper, and shout out to Taya Cooper, who I appreciate her game, especially defensively, and I appreciate the way she drives to the basket. But people will talk to me about her, and I say, I don't care about her points. She could score as many points as she wants to. It's the way it happens. It's how it fits into the total scheme of what the team is doing. I don't care about how many points anybody on this team scores. I just want to see them come together and win basketball games. The points are a portion of how you win. Obviously, you have to outscore the other team to win a basketball game, but it doesn't matter who's scoring the most points on this team.
I mean, I don't think
you can score all the points in the world and just lose.
I don't think the points really matter until, again, you get, like I for the 1,000th time, your team back, because I think people are playing in situations and doing things that they wouldn't normally be doing. And when you have your actual set team, that's not going to happen.
Yes, and that's why, I constantly talk to Derek Fisher about, they decided that Brittany Sykes was going to come off the bench and they wanted her to have that role for this season. But recently she's had to start again because they've just been down so much, and they've known that, like, she is one of their best players that are available right now, and she has to play as many minutes as possible. And to do that, she's been in the starting lineup. And so, yes, I understand that you want to keep people in the roles that you envision for them through the totality of the 2021 season if it was perfect. But the season ain't perfect right now. You have to win games. And if that means you got to play a totally different way, that's like football. Like one time, there was this bowl game in Orlando, and I can't remember who Baylor was playing, but Baylor was in the game. And if you know anything about Baylor football back then, they were a spread offense. And so all they did was throw, okay? But all of their quarterbacks were hurt. You know what they did? Halftime, they went in there, they drew up a whole new offense. They said, we're going to run the ball every single time. And what did they do? They probably ran for 300-400 yards, and they figured out how to win that game.
I mean, I do think that the Sparks have, again, I think they were running a lot more floppy in motion earlier in the season. And I think that with the injuries, they kind of just really simplify and they just go straight pick and roll. So that point, I do think they have somewhat changed what they do or what they intended to do. I just think that because of personnel, it doesn't always work. But, like, I do think that they have at least attempted to change what they do. Like, I don't see as much motion and floppy as I saw earlier on as I see now. Now they literally just want pick and roll and handoffs the whole time. Like, it's not even complicated. They run 1-5 pick and rolls and then do a couple dribble handoffs, swing, swing, swing.
My last thing is
whoever I feel you.
Whoever it is on this team, these last two games before the Olympic break, if you are open, please shoot the ball, especially if you're open from three, because you know what? 3 points are worth more than two. Like, I'm not trying to be like, condescending or anything like that, but like literally 3 points are worth more than two. And I know you said, oh, you a Daryl Morey. Like, I'm not Daryl Morey because, I didn't go to MIT and I haven't studied at the Sloan Institute. And, I didn't take advanced calculus and all of that stuff. Who?
Daryl Morey went to MIT?
I don't know, but he helped founded that institute.
He did?
Yeah, they have that analytics conference every year.
They have an analytics conference?
Yes, he co-founded the annual MIT Sloan Sports Analytic Conference. Yes. Okay. There's literally a conference where they just talk about analytics. I promise you. Okay. You should think about going.
Hey, man, I might go one day.
You should think about going. Because, I don't think he went to MIT, but yes, he co-founded this annual conference.
Okay, didn't know that.
So that's not me, but I appreciate that. And I'm not saying that I want basketball to turn into baseball where you have these crazy shifts where the person won't ever hit the ball there. And then you pitch these like games where you have like 6 pitchers pitch one game. You have like relief games and like all of this stuff. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying If you are open from three, shoot the three. And try to avoid the mid-range as much as possible. I know it feels good to dribble into a shot, but try to avoid that as much as possible and take it hard to the rack, layup, or get fouled. Like, make it simple. But the other team knows you want to make it simple. So then that makes it hard.
I'm going to keep it G with you. I think they're making the offense as simple as it could possibly be. Like, how many times have I sat next to you and like, 1-5 screen, handoff, come set? I think they're making the offense as simple. In my personal opinion, it's just a make or miss league. And when they make shots, they look great. When they miss shots and they don't convert, they look how they look. At the end of the day, you got to make some shots. Like, again, in both of the last two games, when they took the lead, the only thing that changed was they actually made shots.
And yes, Daryl Morey does have a degree from MIT. Yes,
okay.
MBA.
But
and I will be sending you the information for the Sloan Sports Athletics Conference.
But rounding it out, obviously, like we said, 2 games left until we go on a month break for the Olympic break. Would you like to predict what happens in these 2 games? I think I know what you're going to say, but I want to hear you say it.
I'm going to predict that they lose to the Storm and they beat the Lynx at home.
Okay. I'm with you.
I still think the Storm are too much. There's a reason why the Storm are the 2020 defending champions. There's a reason why they are tied for the best record in the league right now with the Aces. And you could say the same things about the Aces. There's a reason why they made the finals last year. There's a reason why they have the reigning MVP. There's a reason why they're tied for the number 1 record in the league. Because those are the 2 best teams in the league. And we can debate who is better, but those are the 2 best teams in the league. Because most consistently, they just are. They have so many options. They can beat you so many different ways, and they are so consistent. That is the reason why they are the 2 best teams in the league, is because they are consistent. Their lapses don't last for more than part of a quarter. Not even a whole quarter, like part of a quarter. When other teams, a lapse will be a whole half, a whole game. Theirs are minutes. They're like in between timeouts. They call a timeout, and it's like, okay, we're back the way we need to be. So the fact that those 2 teams can recenter themselves so easy, yeah. I mean, a shout out to Brittany Sykes for saying that she wanted to play against Jewel Lloyd, which I think is great. Because if you're going to be Defensive Player of the Year, if you're going to make first team all defense, you have to play against the best players. You have to guard the best players, and you have to hold the best players night after night below their average. Now, I'm not saying you hold them to 5 points because that's not realistic, and nor will you be guarding them every single time because, like you said, there's a lot of pick and rolls in this league now. And so, yeah, you can fight through the switch, but sometimes you just got to switch. But, yeah, got to get one. You got to get one.
But we can leave it there. My thing, like I said, I'm with you. I think they'll go 1-1. And it's to me just as simple as, bro, if you're gonna have the worst offense rating wise in the league, I know even Erica said we don't always look at ratings, but still, offensive rating is what it is. If you had a worst offensive rating in the league, it's gonna be hard for you to win some games. But with the defense that they play, if they just make half of their shots, I think they'll be well off. And for them, I mean, it's just a make or miss lead. You get to the break, and
if they make half their shots, bro, they gonna win. They gonna win 3 out of 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, they just have to literally make their shots, make 45% of their shots, and make, I don't know, 40% of their threes. That may be asking a lot, but whatever.
It's doable.
But yeah, and then you get to the break, get healthy. Like I said, they have nobody going overseas to play, so that means all of you all can get in the gym. You can hone some things out over this next. Basically, you got a whole training camp mid-season. So we should.
It's a reset.
Yeah, it's a reset. So we should see a different team post-Olympic break than we saw pre-Olympic break. So we'll see how it goes.
And they'll also have to make some decisions too, because they do have some temporary contracts right now. They have Carly Samuelson on a temporary contract and Bria Holmes on a temporary contract because they decided to give Lauren Cox a rest of the season contract. So they have to make some decisions as well.
So yeah, we'll see. And
because they got 9 active players right now, and we just identified there were 4 out.
Mm-hmm.
That don't add up to 12.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see.
And you're still paying Jasmine Walker. So you really got 14.
Yeah. But again, we'll see. It'll be very interesting to see. And like I said, I think it'll be great to return to Staples Center. And hopefully it'll be hopefully the team that Fish signed can get on the court and actually play extended time together. So yeah, I guess we can leave it there.
All right. Sounds good. Well, you can check me out on winsidr.com. That's where you'll find my articles. You can also check me out on Twitter at John W. Davis. Also check me out on YouTube. Search Inside the Wubble. So I'm doing that as a project too. Oh man, we didn't even get to talk about it. But yo, shout out to all of the celebrities who've been supporting.
Yeah.
LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Jordan Poole,
Dame,
Tinashe, Phil Handy, Jordan Poole, Patrick Williams, Alfonso McKinney. Is it Alfonso or Alonzo?
I think it's Alfonso.
Alfonso McKinney. I said it right the first time.
Yeah, just
so many people, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some too.
Alvin Kamara from the Saints.
Yeah, I think
he was there. But no, I think that is a cool experience for the fans because I mean, obviously, if they're coming to Staples, you really can't see them, but seeing LeBron like that close,
right?
To people who, I mean, it's LeBron, bro. Like,
right.
It's LeBron.
That's a once in a lifetime experience to stand 5 feet away from LeBron James.
I dapped up LeBron and called him the GOAT in the club once, and then I also saw LeBron twice in 24 hours. So I was like, bro, why have I seen LeBron?
Excuse me.
No, I'm just not saying, but like it's crazy. I saw LeBron twice 24 hours. I'm like, bro, why? Like it looked like I was following the man on Instagram. But still, I think just for fans and just kids, to see somebody like that, to see a D-Wade, to see a Dame Lillard, and they really be like that close to the point where it's like you take out your phone and you ain't even got to zoom. They just right there. Nah, you take your phone and you only have to zoom in because they just right there. I think that is the one cool thing about the convention center is just the intimacy of it. Mm-hmm. But like I said, it'll be really good to get back to Staples. Give me some Staples Center popcorn.
You love the popcorn.
I love the popcorn.
Yo, shout out to TPJ. Basically, you just described hashtag Life of the West Hollywood Whisperer.
Yeah.
Man, you got to tell me offline, man. You living your life right now, huh?
What
everything you doing, man, you living your life. We don't have to get into it on the show. I'm just saying, man.
But no,
hey, what Lil Duval say? Living my best life. Yeah, you living your best life right now, man. Shout out to you.
But real quick,
to TBJ too.
So the LeBron thing was he had Warner had like a party for Space Jam. So they had it at Six Flags. So one of my homies was like involved with planning the party. He told me like, yo, LeBron's gonna come. I'm like, sure. LeBron actually came, but it was like very early. But like LeBron, I was like walking like to go in the party, and LeBron was like walking out. I'm like, yo, it's LeBron right here. And then the next day they all show up. Probably because I think NECA's in the movie, Game is in the movie, and Bron's in the movie. So I'm sure they came to show support.
Shout out to Anthony Davis, who was there the game before. He's in the movie as well. Klay Thompson, Diana Taurasi is in there. So Diana Taurasi and NECA are two of the villains. Yeah. And then it's Dame, Klay, and Anthony Davis. So like those are the 5. I don't know if they're called Monstars in the movie, but I'm just gonna call it
Goon Squad or something like that.
Okay, well, yeah, they are the Goon Squad.
I think.
This always gonna be the Monstars to me.
To me, they always facts. The Monstars to me. So shout out LeBron, shout out D-Wade, shout out everybody who's been coming to Spartans games. And like I said, it'll be great to just walk back in Staples, and see a Spartans game in Staples. It's been a very, very long time. I'm excited to do that.
Mm-hmm. I think the players will be excited too. Fact. And it's going to catch some of these other teams off guard because they ain't been in Staples in a long time either.
Yeah.
So you can catch somebody slipping real quick. You get them in Staples. You're loud. You're proud. You're feeling hype. They might be like a little overwhelmed, like, oh, I'm playing in the place where LeBron played, where Kobe played, where this, that, and the other.
It'll. I mean,
I'm not saying for the Sparks. I'm saying for the other teams.
I'm saying like again, like it'll. Obviously shout out to everything they did with the convention center, but like, let's be real, that's not a place that should be housing professional basketball. The Staples Center is obviously a premium facility.
I think him for a weekend. I think it's cool for like an all-star weekend, maybe a celebrity game. Like you could play a celebrity game.
No, for sure. But like that shouldn't be the permanent home of like, like that. No, it shouldn't.
No, but I rather it be there than to just take over someone's college gym.
Of course. Like I said, they did
because it was curated for them.
Of course, like I said, they did the best they could being handed the situation that it was handed. But passing that, they'll be the only ones getting back in Staples. I think will be a jolt of energy for the players, be a jolt of energy for the fans. It'd be just a jolt of energy for everybody. So I'm looking forward to it. Most
definitely. Well, Pavy, what you working on? I saw you just passed 100,000, so congratulations on that.
Thank you. The Softless video should be out either late this week or early next week.
What video is out now?
Letter to My Exes is out right now. Right. You can go check that out. Pavy World, Pavy World, everywhere on the internet. So yeah, and the music will be coming soon. Shout out my homie T. We're working on getting something out. So yeah.
Shout out to Glasses. Pavy is now Googleable.
I am Googleable.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. My goal is to be the most famous John W. Davis.
You got to be close to that point now, bro.
I'm close, but it's going to be tough because back in 1924, there was some guy who ran for president. He lost.
Oh, okay.
There's a historical figure. Oh. But I'm top 5 right now. I'm top 5.
Shout out that.
And there's some lawyer somewhere.
Shout out that.
But yeah, I'm top 5.
Shout out that.
But all right, y'all. It's been the Spark Report. John W. Davis and Pavy. Peace.